أنا توفيق بن موسى، وكنت أعيش في العالم العربي في العصور الوسطى، وكنت أسافر أيضا بين المدن الشهيرة، لكنني استيقظت ذات يوم ووجدت نفسي في مدينة لندن في عام 2020. لندن مدينة جميلة لها تاريخ عظيم، لقد صدمني التقدم التكنولوجي. لم أعتقد أبدا أننا كبشر سنصل إلى هذا المستوى في العلم. رأيت المواصلات العامة والسيارات والمباني الشاهقة. قررت أيضا تجربة الطعام الذي يأكلونه في هذا العصر. جربت طبقا يسمونها wings and chips. أريد أن أغتنم هذه الفرصة لأخبركم عن المدن الشهيرة في العالم العربي في العصور الوسطى. لذلك قررت أن أتعلم اللغة الإنجليزية، واليوم سأتحدث عن بغداد. I don't think any description can give the beauty of Iraq and Baghdad justice. However, a famous scholar in the medieval times known as Al-Maqdisi describes it in this way. And he says, إن إقليم العراق إقليم الظرفاء ومنبع العلماء لطيف الماء عجيب الهواء. And he also says, أليس به البصرة التي قوبلت بالدنيا وبغداد الممدوحة في الورى والكوفة الجليلة وسامرة.
Baghdad was discovered in the early medieval period during the rise of the Abbasid Caliphate. After this, it was set to become the center of Islamic intellectual and Arab power. Once it was discovered, it was north of the ancient city of Babylon. The construction began and it became known as the Round City, in Arabic, Madinat al-Mansur. I'll let you know about the Round City, but before we do that, I want to describe its geography. Its strategic position enabled it to become a very rich and prosperous city. The Tigris and Euphrates rivers were essential to the prosperity and daily life in medieval Baghdad. Medieval geographers divided it between the Tigris and the Euphrates, also known as Mesopotamia. In the medieval times, Iraq was known as the land between those two instrumental rivers, and it was south of the well-known city Tikrit. I remember upon entering Baghdad, there were 4 walls surrounding the Round City, and each wall had its own name, and interestingly enough, they were called Khurasan, Basra, Kufa, and Syria. You might have already noticed that these are names of cities within Iraq and surrounding countries, and they called these walls by those names because they actually pointed towards the directions of these destinations. Kufa and Basra were in Iraq. Syria and Khurasan, also known as Iran, were surrounding countries. And this was the beauty of Baghdad. It was right in the middle of these hugely important cities and countries in the medieval Mediterranean. This hugely benefited the merchants, travelers, and pastoralists. We can get into what the traders and merchants brought into the city later on. But before, I want to discuss the Golden Gate. I can certainly remember this gate and its glory. It was the residence of the ruler and his family. This was right in the center of Baghdad, inside the round city. And next to the palace, you would be able to see other mansions which belong to high-ranking officers. But I don't want to get into the elite of society. I think they have had their attention. So Baghdad was known for its intellectual revolution. The House of Wisdom in Baghdad was the center of knowledge in the early medieval Arab world, and something we should be proud of. Religion, philosophy, medicine was studied and shared in this place, and it attracted scholars not only from Baghdad, but from all over the medieval Islamic and Arab world. And at one point, the knowledge and commerce of Baghdad enabled it to be one of the biggest cities in the early medieval world. By the 10th century, the population of Baghdad was almost 2 million. However, the prestige and glory of Baghdad was destined to face a turbulent time. The sack of Baghdad in 1258, while the Mongols devastated many homes and many innocent lives were taken. The established irrigation systems were destroyed and the Abbasid dynasty was defeated. It was a horror show. It probably marked the end of the Islamic Golden Age and destabilized the medieval Mediterranean. However, we're not here to discuss these political changes because, frankly, all these dynasties are the same. They all caused bloodshed. So the city of Baghdad was vibrant and full of life. The two rivers we spoke about earlier, the Tigris and the Euphrates, were instrumental for agriculture and daily life. In fact, Al-Maqdisi describes them in a fascinating way. I'm going to paraphrase, but what he says is that the Tigris River is feminine, pleasant, and excellent, and that 2/3 of the charm of Baghdad derives from this river, whereas the Euphrates is a masculine river. Interesting way to describe them. The Tigris River had many benefits for Baghdad and medieval Iraq in general. For example, its waters were used to irrigate lands on the east. And medieval Baghdad was known for many things. Its figs, dates, and textiles filled the markets, and merchants hugely benefited from these commodities. It was also known for its silk, mats, and special turbans made from unique fabrics. The vibrant buzz of the city in the markets is something that will never ever leave the mind. But it wasn't just Baghdad which had the goods. Basra was known for its silk and pearls. There were many other smaller cities which had an abundance of food and textiles and much, much more. If you wanted dairy products such as milk and cheese, or if you wanted meat and honey, Mosul would be the place to go. And finally, Baghdad was also the place where the first paper-making mill was established in the medieval Arab world. And as I said earlier, it became the center of knowledge. Do make sure you join us on our next video as we travel from Baghdad to Damascus, Syria.